All right, guys. Hello. This is Jose Vasquez for Baseball Strong, bringing you another episode in the Raising a Ball Player series. Lately, I've been doing some videos on the idea of raising a ball player. What does it take to become a ball player, whether you make it to the next level, whether it's high school, college, or pro? I'm calling it Raising a Ball Player, and I'm interviewing different players, asking them about their relationship with their parents, their influences, and things like that. And today I got a special couple of friends, Darren and Cullen Scott. Cullen is one of the rising stars in Texas baseball. This kid is phenomenal. If you want to look him up, Perfect Game, social media, he's got plenty of accolades, but this year, probably the most impressive, he recorded a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, which I believe is a record in high school for a 15-year-old, if I'm correct. But before we get started, I want to give a shout-out to our sponsors. Kevin, play the video.
Of the game, our faith is challenged. Our fate unclear. Only the hunter's focus brings clear sight and reveals his mark. It's not the weapon, but the warrior who conquers his fear.
All right, if you take a look on the link below, if you put in the code BaseballWar10, you get 10% off of any War Stick gear. Up next is armcare.com. If you are serious about your shoulder health, check out this video. All right. Thank you, guys. All right. In this series of Raising a Ball Player, I have the privilege of interviewing two friends, Darren and Cullen Scott. We met this fall, and we have developed a good relationship. And I'm just privileged to be working with both of them, helping them, advising, helping them through this journey we call baseball. So let's talk about the father and son relationship. What does it mean? What does baseball mean to your family, and how you live, how you travel, how you eat? Tell me a little bit about your relationship, and what does baseball mean to you guys?
Mr. Darren and Cullen Scott, you are live. Welcome.
Hey, Jose, mate. It's good to have a few minutes to talk to you about baseball, man. I really appreciate what you guys have done. You've done for Cullen.
Yeah.
Relationship, man. I mean, baseball for our family growing up with him was an excuse to take a family trip. We dragged all the boys everywhere we went. So ever since he was 4 or 5, that's what we did every Saturday, Sunday. We were the crazy baseball traveling family, right? Just like most people out there.
Yeah. Maybe take me through a conversation. What's a typical daily baseball conversation between you guys?
You could probably answer that one.
I think it's just like we always our main focus is always tweaking the minor things. We've never really settled with something. I feel like no matter what we're doing, we're always taking that next step to get better.
Okay. All right. So obviously I know a lot about you guys so far and what you've been accomplishing, Cullen, on the field and stuff like that. So let's go back maybe a couple of years when you started to realize that you were you were getting better, and you were starting to see that, hey, maybe perhaps this is different for me. So when did you guys start thinking, all right, maybe perhaps we need extra help. We need to seek out more advice, more help. When did you guys start kind of thinking about that?
I mean, for me, as a dad, I remember back when he was 13, he took an interest in football, and obviously played a lot of baseball, played a little bit of rugby. But being an American kid, he really wanted to play football, and we'd sort of restricted him from playing football because we thought it might cause an injury of some type. And so crazy it sounds like rugby and football, but
Hmm.
we let him play football, and then obviously found a passion for football. Sort of losing a little bit of that passion for baseball because of it. And then at 13, he was lucky enough to make the New Zealand team, the under 15s for the World Baseball Classic. And for me, I remember putting him on the plane. So it was Thanksgiving, and he had to go all the way back to New Zealand by himself on a plane from Las Vegas. Went into camp with them for a few days, and then went to Guam, played there, and then came home. And I remember distinctly, the kid I put on the plane and just how he sort of carried himself and then how he got off the plane was just completely different. And for me, from that moment, that was kind of where I saw his focus shift more towards, you know, working really hard to become a baseball player rather than a multi-sport athlete. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, one of the things I want to point out based on what you just said, it's very important for all the dads out there that are watching, all the parents that are watching. It's very important that you pay attention to those mind shifts when your child shows you a passion for something and they set their mind on something. That's you got to capture those moments, and that's when you kind of jump on that opportunity to jump in that journey with them. Uh, One of the things I've always uh, learned from the guys that I got to know in the big leagues that had really good relationships with their dads, and that's something that I've tried to do with my own children is whatever they're into, whatever their passion is, I just want to be there with them and facilitate whatever it takes to get them where they want to go, because the reality is it's about them. Once you're a parent, your career is over. So once you see your child become passionate about something, that's when you jump in. It's like, all right, let's go do this, and let's make it the best experience possible, and let's do it the best way possible. And so, um, I just wanted to point that out, highlight that in the podcast, because my point for some of these podcasts is to give parents ideas of how to manage these situations when your child is going through the baseball journey. Um,
Well, I think Jose, just to sort of add to that, looking back, I've got a 11-year-old now who plays baseball as well. And looking back at Cullen 5 to 12 versus how we are with Beckett, our other one, we're very very different. And I think almost a lot of parents, even I see it now, because I'm not that crazy dad as much as I was. But I see how I guess parents. It's almost the whole baseball travel baseball culture thing is a lot targeted towards the family experience and the parents. The group that you have.
hmm
It's almost like a social club. You
hmm
get to see your friends every week, and it's not really about the kids playing baseball. And I lived that. I definitely we were part of that. And that's one thing that we've definitely changed with our youngest one. I think it's noticeable.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Um, all right, Colin, let's talk about mindset and your approach to baseball.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, Getting to know you, I am very impressed by the way you go about your business, the way you think, the way you carry yourself. And so for those kids or parents that are out there, just talk about your mindset, like your approach to all of this. I mean, you have school, you have your workouts, you have your responsibilities to the team. You know, you're trying to get better individually. You're getting recruited. You got all these things going on. So, how would you describe your mindset, and how do you process and handle a lot of that stuff?
I'd say the biggest thing is just like being able to have that routine, that like daily like routine where you're just you know what you're doing and nothing gets too big in like the moment. And I'd say like more on the baseball side of it, being prepared for the game or the practice preparation's the biggest thing that can come because when you're prepared, when you know you've put in that work to go perform, whenever you're on that diamond, you're more confident and that'll lead to better performance.
Good, good. So, yeah, every successful long-time major leaguer always had a routine. They always knew what they were going to do every day. They had a plan. They executed it. So, um, another area that I think is also very important, and that I see in you, and I want to highlight that for a lot of the young players is, what are some of the things that you do mentally? Like, you're on deck, you're in the dugout, you're getting ready for your at bat. What are some things
Yeah.
you tell yourself? What are some things you think about? What kind of thoughts you go up to the plate with, or not? How do you talk to yourself before you go to the plate?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, it all just comes back to that work that I put in before. If the moment ever gets big or I'm ever a little bit like too excited for a moment or I'm too nervous or put too much expectation on myself, I go back to that. I've put in this work and I know if I just stay consistent with what I've been doing, that it's gonna come.
Okay. What about on the mound? You got that heavy fastball. You got that guy on the ropes. What do you tell yourself when you know you got this guy? You got that
I mean, to
hitter.
be honest, I
Mm,
mean, like I know my fastball is my pitch, and if I'm ever in a count or like situation where I think that I might be down, I always try to battle back with that pitch because back to preparation, I put in that work to get it where it is, and I know that I can put that pitch where I need it to go.
good, good, yeah. Um, all right, so let's take it back a few years ago. What were some of the things that you said? You know what? I need to get better at this or that, or um, how would you come up with some of that stuff, and what have you done about it over the last couple of years?
Yeah. I mean, I think over the last couple of years, the biggest part has really been like the stuff off the field. So the nutrition, the recovery, and the preparation. I think those are the three big like key points in baseball where if you can start that earlier, you're going to be more successful the later you go down the road. And I think you were a big part of that. Whenever we met you, you kind of got us on that track of nutrition and recovery. And I think that's a big part of where I am today.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that I struggle the most with kids your age, is to try to convince them that nutrition and recovery is just as important as the exercises.
Yeah.
Um, Unfortunately, people don't consider nutrition, sleep, and recovery as part of the training process.
Yeah.
Training is not just exercising. Training is not just doing, a long toss program or taking BP or ground balls. That's part of it. That's not all of it. And so most
Yeah.
people they 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 don't pay attention to their recovery or their sleep and the rest and nutrition until it's too late. Until it's a late game and you're tired and you're in your third or fourth at bat and your bat feels slow. It's not
Yeah.
your swing. It's usually you're probably low in sugar because you probably haven't eaten, or you're probably sleep deprived, or something's happened. So yeah, no, it's important because you know again, you are far ahead of the curve of many high school players that I've talked to. I mean, yes, you're gifted and you have talent that a lot of kids don't have, but what you have is that understanding that training is multifactorial. There's a lot that goes into it, especially if you want to stay at the top of your game and you want to maintain that level of intensity. You can't keep that up very long if you're not sleeping, eating, and recovering properly. So uh, I'm glad that you're sticking with it and doing it. So I commend you for that. That I promise you, I've seen it for a long, long time. The guys that take care of themselves, they do really really well for themselves. So I'm again I said it to you. I've said this to you guys many many times. I look forward to the next couple of years. I just want to see what Cullen Scott becomes. You know, because it's pretty exciting because the things that you're doing are so far beyond kids your age, which it's amazing. So, um, all right, let's talk about routine. All right, let's talk about a week. High school week, Tuesday, Friday. You pitch on Friday. Talk us through some of the things that we put together, right? You
Yeah.
know, go start on Monday. Kind of what your Monday looks like. What kind of workouts? What kind of you don't have to tell us the meals, but just like I eat breakfast and that kind of stuff. Just talk, Monday through Saturday. Talk us through your routine.
Yeah, so I think Monday's where it all starts. Before school, we get there early so I can do mobility, get the shoulder just warmed up for the week. Then it goes into baseball class during school hours. I'll do my arm care. After school, we'll do defensive end hitting with team, and then I go with my dad down to pop, and we'll work with Coach Leon for my speed. That's my only heavy speed day whenever I'm in season. And then we'll end the night off with hitting, and then we'll do a light recovery session. Tuesday, similar schedule. We'll get there before school. That'll be another mobility, more like lower body mobility than shoulder mobility. During the period, I'll throw my bullpen, usually 20 to 25 pitches to prime my arm for Friday. After school, with the team, same thing. We do hitting and defensive endy, and then I'll go down to pop with my dad again, and we'll do fielding and defensive out of our own. Wednesday that's our lift day. Um, we'll I lift Wednesday. That's my big lift of the week. Uh, Arm care during the period because I'll be recovering from the game Tuesday night. Um, and then after school, we don't have practices with the team Wednesday, and whenever we get down to pop, it's hitting, and that's our big recovery day since it's the day after a game, and we have to get ready for Friday again. Thursday is the same schedule to Monday, early before school mobility, arm care, defensive end hitting, and then down back at pop doing hitting and fielding reps. Friday, that's the big game, that's starting game. So I'll get to school a little bit earlier than normal. I'll have a bigger mobility. I'll do upper body and lower body. We'll do arm care and hitting during the period with the team. After school, after school before the game, the nutrition right there is the biggest part of the whole game. If I'm not like nutrition well by the fourth or fifth inning is usually when everything starts to wear off. So I make sure that energy levels are up. And then before the game, I'll make sure to have my proper like arm care and warm up routine, and I keep that as close as I can to the same every week. So I'm on that routine. Game time, and then after we'll try to eat a really good meal. Usually it's Chipotle. That's what we found works the best. Saturday we'll get to pop back early in the morning. We'll have hitting, a light speed session, and then a big recovery. Just get everything out from the week, flush it, and then get ready for next week to perform again.
Good, good. So, again, very impressive that you can say that out without looking at the paper. So that's always like again very impressed that you can keep all that stuff in your head, which is incredible. So, a couple of other things. So, Darren, when he gets frustrated with you, you're coaching him, you're talking to him. How do you handle those moments where he's not buying it?
I mean, to be honest, mate, the last probably 18 months has been a lot kinder between the two of us than the previous 6 or 7 years. But yeah, I mean, it's it's probably pretty hard, you know, for him sometimes because I'm his biggest fan, but I'm also probably his biggest critic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people always ask me if I can do some coaching with him or whatever, and I'm like, I never played baseball. I don't know baseball. I don't pretend to know baseball, but I do know him, and I do know his mechanics and his movements, and all his mechanisms, right? And so, when he goes out and he hits well or he's a little off, I can sort of see why, and I'm very critical of that, but I can also see when he's doing really well and that's working well for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so our conversations around his baseball and his process and his performance, I think, are a lot more positive, especially in the last 6, maybe 12 months.
Yeah.
But I'm really proud, just the effort he puts in, and I think that helps our relationship because I know he's putting everything in he can.
Yeah. No, I commend you guys for the way you guys go about your business because it's special. It's special that relationship between father and son and walking through this together, regardless of the level or how elite the player is. It's just it's a special thing, especially nowadays in this world where a lot of parents are either not involved or they're a little bit too overzealous or they don't evaluate their kids too well. They think that their kid is going to go to the big leagues at age 12 versus, those that are way too critical. And I mean, I've known parents that cuss their kids out through the fence because they didn't hit a ball versus the ones that are, they don't have a clue about the game and just yelling all kinds of stupid things through the fence. So it's a special thing to be able to do all this together. So I commend you guys. So in baseball, no, you don't do it alone. Obviously, you guys are working together, but talk about some of the people that have influenced your career so far and some of the people that are involved in your life. I'm sure you're like mom, cousins, that kind of stuff. Who else is involved in your life that's actually helping you grow as a ball player and as a young man, Cullen?
I think the biggest one, Amy, she's one of my biggest supporters, if not my biggest. And then she's one of the big key factors of my nutrition. She's always meal prepping and she's always getting me ready for the week on that. And then my family too, they're always supporting me up or down. They're always there for me. And then I think you're a big part of it. That's probably what's helped me and why I'm at where I am today. And then besides that, just all the coaches that I've met along the way, I feel like I've taken bits from everything and just put it together, and it's finally working out.
Good. Yeah, I know it's always important to always remember the people that help you, because when you make it, when you get to that big level, it took a lot of people. It's a long road, and there's always a lot of people along the way. I always look at it as you're running this race and you got all these people on the sidelines handing you water to keep you going. And so, that also helps us stay humble too, to remember all the people that were there for us and stuff like that. So again, I'm very, very impressed with you guys, impressed with you, Cullen, and I just can't wait. I can't wait to see how you're growing this game because I've been around the game for a long, long time, and I would even say there's not big leaguers with your mindset at this point. They're just super good. So your mind and your approach to all of this is far beyond anything that I could ever say. So, all right. So, I mean, I kind of know this, but so for the people out there, what's been the biggest change over the last couple of years in like your body weight, body size? I mean, I know you probably grown a lot the last few years. So, how was your growth spurts? How did that affect you? Did you notice them? Were you achy? A lot of kids that grow fast, they go through a lot of growth spurts and a lot of growing pains, growth plate issues. Did you have any of that stuff? What kind of changes did you feel?
Yeah, in eighth grade, I went in there. I think I had probably a 6 to 8 inch growth spurt, but I didn't put in on any weight. So I was just that tall, lanky kid. I had to relearn how to run, how to like just be mobile again. I kind of lost it all then. And then I think over the past years, we've kind of worked on putting that weight on and building the body that will make me perform the best in a game. And the past 8 to 10 months, especially during the off season, I put on 10 to 15 pounds of muscle thanks to your program. And I think that's the biggest contributor of everything. Like just putting on that muscle and being able to like get in the game and feel how explosive and how like twitchy and strong I am compared to how I used to be. It's just different.
Yeah. So a few weeks back, I did a podcast on growth plates, and sometimes as a parent, when your kid is, this is for the parents out there. So when your kid is going through big changes, big growth plate issues, they start complaining of weird pains that come out of nowhere and stuff like that. So uh, many times the kid up here is awkward. He looks tight. He looks, really, really weird, and has all these pains. It's, instead of freaking out as a parent, and instead of like, oh, you got to go stretch, oh, you got to get stronger, this is the best window to introduce a lot of coordination, a lot of agility work, a lot of running mechanics. Right if you're swinging the bat, really, really focus on your mechanics so that your body records, your brain records that swing path, that your brain records your arm path, and instead of going crazy trying to go to all these training programs and stuff like that, when you get that window of growth spurt, utilize that window to work on coordination. Everything that you do, whatever it is, try to be very, very detailed, very disciplined in the movement and performing correct movements, because once they get out of that stage, then the muscles start showing up, and then you get stronger, and then all that stuff kind of comes together. But a lot of people, they freak out through the growth spurts, and then they apply too much strength training, or too many lessons and too many games and stuff like that. So for those of you out there that are going through that, that's the best window for coordination. And so my son's gone through it. I mean, he's gone through a big growth spurt the last 2-3 years, and it's been a process of introducing certain types of exercises so that he can appear athletic when they're lanky and skinny like that. So it's important to take advantage of those opportunities. So a couple of things before we close. Let's see. All right, easy. What advice? You guys have been through a lot. You've accomplished a lot so far, but you still got a long way to go. What's some advice that you guys would give to families out there that are in this journey? Beginning high school, middle of high school, trying to find a college, that kind of stuff. What kind of advice would you guys give them?
I mean, as a dad, I think what I'd say would be, let let them play whatever they want to play until middle school. You know, um, and if they're passionate about multiple sports, let them play multiple sports. Um, for me, um, you know, the best decision we made, which was a decision I never thought we would make, was not having Cullen play baseball in the fall of last year. And we focused on him, as his strength and conditioning and his speed and agility. And as a dad, that was tough to make the decision for him not to play baseball this fall and last fall. And I know for him it was a little tough at the start, because you play baseball every year in the fall. But looking at where we are today, 100% recommend it. I mean, he like you said, he put on about 15 pounds of muscle. Didn't lose. He gained speed. And then at the plate and on the mound, he gained immense power. And all the baseball stuff, it took care of itself, right? I mean, you're naturally going to want to hit, and you're naturally going to throw and catch and whatever. But having that framework behind it, I think, is what gave him the confidence, or gives him the confidence every time he goes out there, is he knows he's put the work in to be bigger and stronger and faster. And watching him play, it's been great. And I think it just, you've got to put more value on strength and conditioning and speed and agility, because it's hugely important. And I wouldn't have thought that in baseball. I mean, I played rugby. I played rugby for a long time, and that's a big deal, right? Because we're a contact sport. But baseball, not being a contact sport, I wouldn't have thought it was as important as it is. And just for injury prevention, recovery, nutrition, like you said, all of it. I mean, I can't speak how important that is, especially as a freshman, or even 8th grade.
Yeah. Yeah. So, again, for all the parents out there, high school age, you got to dedicate some time to strength and conditioning. You can't play all year round and expect to develop your body. Uh, you know, one of the things that I always struggled sometimes with some of our prospects was they wanted them to play all year round. They would play 140 something games in the minor leagues, then they send them to the fall league, then they send them to winter ball, and then they come to spring training and they were malnourished and underweight, and they would ask me, "Hey Jose, can we put on 20 pounds for this guy in spring training?" I'm like, "No, because you're playing baseball all the time. You can't. The body's not like a pot of beef stew. You just throw everything and you expect to get if you throw everything in there, you get beef stew, and it's nothing really specific. But when it comes to developing your body can only adapt to so many things at once. So if you want to play baseball, play baseball. But you need to dedicate at least one portion of the year to just strict strength and conditioning so that your body will build, so that you build a foundation of strength and muscle so that when you go back to baseball, that bat's going to feel lighter. That ball's going to jump. That fastball is going to have some bite. So like for parents out there, I really, really recommend step away a little bit of the baseball, play less tournaments, maybe don't play fall. You got to take the time. Otherwise, you're going to be a junior weighing 150 pounds, 6 foot tall, throwing 85. And then now what? And I've seen that. I've seen a lot of that. And I see some of the seniors on my son's team, and like, what have you guys been doing over the last few years? You're going into college weighing 160 pounds. So, not to cut on them, but that's just the reality. You want to make it to the next level, you got to look the part. You got to have a man body. You don't go to the next level with a kid body. So, so Cullen, what are some of your plans for the summer? Where can people follow you? I mean, I think right now you're at the point where obviously you're getting a lot of looks, a lot of exposure, but tell the people, what are you going to do this summer? Where are you going to play? And so like that way people know a little bit more about you.
Yeah. Well, this summer I'll be playing with Team Elite. It'll be my first year with them. I'm pretty sure we're playing in 4 tournaments. And then beside those, I'll be doing the Perfect Game National Showcase, doing a little bit of the area codes. And then hopefully over the summer, I get invited to a couple of those Perfect Game and Prep Baseball All-American games. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that'll wrap up the summer.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, we got to make a schedule for that. We got to make a strength and conditioning schedule for all that. So we got to get on that. So, all right, guys. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's kind of weird, but I think your story is good, and I want to tell it. I'm the kind of person that when I find something good, I tell everybody. And that's life, man. I always want to surround myself with successful people that have the right mindset and that they're doing the right things, because I can always learn from watching you guys work. I know a lot of people can learn from listening to this podcast about how to go about the baseball stuff. So, again, I just want to thank you guys, and you got a game tomorrow, right? Playoff game?
Yes, sir. Yeah, first playoff game. It'll be good.
Yeah, we got one too. So, but good luck to you, Darren. It's always good to talk to you, mate. Kian loves your accent. Kian loves your accent.
I did want to say though, mate. You talked about influences and coaches and that earlier, and we've been really blessed, with everybody that's come across Cullen, and if anybody's lucky enough to be able to work with you, we'd highly recommend it, and have, right? But what you've done with Cullen, and even with me, just as a dad and as a parent, I'll be forever grateful. So I appreciate everything.
All right, so hang in there for me as we close out. I'm still learning. I'm still a rookie with this podcast stuff, so we need to kind of close it down a little bit. So, hey, man, Cullen, thank you. Darren, thank you. Hey, guys, this is Baseball Strong. This is Jose. Thank you for listening. Next, hopefully, I can get Robinson Chirinos on the show, talk about life after baseball. Until next time, take care.